a chance to be ruthless.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt.
All right, Utes fans, what is up? Utah beats Arizona at home at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Big win for the Utes. I know Arizona is not one of the premier teams in the Pac-12, but don't forget this was a team that hung in there toe-to-toe with USC. And you know, I was at the game. That was awesome, an awesome experience. Shout out to I had a guy gift me some tickets. I'm gonna shout him out here, man. He was a cool dude, so I'm gonna give him a shout. Spencer Barnard gifted my wife and I some tickets. That was really awesome, dude. Thank you again. As we get into the video, guys, please do make sure you guys like the video, comment in the chat any observations you guys have, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's move this a little closer here. But outside of that, really good game. It started raining. I thought it was pretty cool. If you guys were at the game, so once the rain really started coming down, they played what's that song called? Have You Seen the Rain? It was really cool, and like the whole crowd was singing it. It was pretty awesome. So if you guys are there, you know what I'm talking about. I thought that was a subtle but very cool moment. Yeah, Larry says second string D giving up points again. Yeah, so Utah won the game 45-20, but realistically, that game was like 45-10. Really good game. I thought Utah like killed it beginning to end. There wasn't much more you could ask for. A lot of good. Tat says hello. What a game! What a game! Jimmy Emerson, go Utes. UT Fly Fisherman, man, what are they doing with Tavion Thomas for real? I think what it is. UT Fly Fisherman is, I think you've given Tavion chances in the past, and you're very slowly giving him more chances. I don't think it's about a talent thing. I think you want to make sure if you're going to center your offense around a guy that you really trust that guy, that you feel like he's the guy. And so, you know, it's had its moments in the past where it kind of bit you with Tavion. And so I think you're just really just one drop at a time, seeing how he does getting back into that offense. And I can't imagine he's going to screw up again. I mean, he had to sit on the bench for like 3 weeks now because of what he did. Jimmy says Zemiah Vaughn was a beast. Yeah, definitely a good game for Zemiah. I wonder why Van Fillinger didn't play. I didn't notice whether or not Van Fillinger played, but that's a good observation. So let's talk about it, guys. So like I said, this was not a premier Pac-12 team, but that Utah team, you know, they had their issues. We had our issues out there, but I really thought that by the end of the game, Utah looked like they were a Pac-12 champion caliber team. That was a very good Arizona team. Both my projections had them scoring 31 plus on our defense. And maybe I think I finally, for the first time all season, this is something I'm happy about. Larry says Van was injured, but the first time all season, I really feel like our defense had a good game against a very good offense. I think it is definitely time we give them some credit. They held a team that averaged 488 yards per game in Arizona to just 387 yards. And don't forget, a good 75 to 100 of those yards were in garbage time. Like, right, we could have run if we kept the starters in that yard totals, probably more like 300, right? So I think it's really good. You know, I think our defense is really starting to step up. We do still have some consistent issues that we've been dealing with all season with the defense. They let up those chunk plays. I don't know what it is. It's earlier in the games. We just let up these fat chunks, like 15, 20 yards a pop. I hate seeing it. The other big thing that I think our defense didn't do a great job of today was containing the quarterback. I think we did a really good job in general as a defense, but it's kind of been persistent all year that scrambling quarterbacks give us problems, and it hasn't really gotten better. It feels like we're like trying to contain him or running schemes with our D line that are literally meant to contain him. And the defensive line, once they like do what the scheme says, it's like they don't take that next step and be a playmaker, if that makes sense. Larry says defense is starting to come together, but they keep having bad eyes. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bash the defense tonight. That was one of the top offenses in the entire country, and I thought they did a really good job. So let's talk a little bit about college football before we kind of break down everything from Utah. Two wild things happened today. I don't know if everyone saw them, but so one, this was all happening during the Utah game, so I wasn't watching the games. I'll have to watch them or watch the highlights when I get a chance. Clemson got beat by Notre Dame. So Clemson, who was number 4 in the CFP poll, which I think a lot of us thought that was way too high for Clemson, even though they're undefeated. They got beat by Notre Dame 35-14. And don't forget, that's a Notre Dame team that almost got beat by the team down south and had some rough losses this year. The other big one was LSU got a win over Alabama. Nuts, dude. They go into overtime, and then LSU takes it from them. I think my guess with that is just Brian Kelly had issues with facing the top teams in college football while he was at Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's talent is a little different than LSU's. LSU has some like really high level athletes. Not that Notre Dame doesn't, but a little wilder with the athleticism for LSU. And I think he was able to coach a little better against a really high caliber team, if that makes any sense. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk. Let's talk Utah. Tad says Nick Saban going crazy right now. Yeah, for real. And Stanford beat Notre Dame as well. Crazy. Yeah. And then Notre Dame goes on to beat Clemson. I feel like if you're the CFP poll, you have to knock Clemson down a lot for that one, dude. Notre Dame is a real up and down team this year, and they've been beat by some not so great teams. Brian Kelly had a Kyle Whittingham moment by going for 2. Hey, I haven't watched the game. I guess that must have been how it ended, but is what it is. All right, so let's take a look here, guys. I'm going to put the stats up on the screen. There was a chunk of guys that had a good night. I mean, I noticed a bunch of guys. I was at the game, so I wasn't able to be as analytical today, just because it's a little tougher when you're there, right? You're just kind of enjoying the moment, watching the plays as they go. So let's take a look here. Cam Rising, not a good game. I noticed that when I was watching the game. 13 for 25, 151 yards, and 1 interception. I'm not concerned at all about Cam. I think what this was, because don't forget, this isn't a good defense. This is one of the worst defenses in the country. And what that game was to me for Cam was, 1, a lot of playmakers out, right? 2, he's shaking the rust off, right? It's been almost 3 weeks since he's actually played a real game, and I think he was just a little off. And who knows, maybe his knee's a little sensitive. I'm going to give a shout out. I'm not going to mention him yet because he deserves a shout out. But I think there's a reason Cam wasn't the guy doing the runs at the goal line out of shotgun. And I'm sure you guys know who I'm hinting at. That guy definitely deserves a shout out, but I'll talk about him in a minute. So with Cam, accuracy issues. He overthrew a couple guys, and you do those sideline passes to kind of hopefully draw a flag. But with Cam, sometimes like tonight, he had those issues he had a long time ago. I haven't even brought this up since like probably beginning of this year and like middle of last year. But it's when It's when you throw the ball up on the sideline, right? Your wide receiver's one-on-one with the corner. You throw the ball up on the sideline. You hope to get the flag, but Cam's throwing it just nowhere near anybody. And it's like, okay, well, that's not going to get you a flag, dude. Pass interference doesn't get called if the pass is uncatchable. So is what it is. Kat says Cam was a little off post-game interview. Whittingham said he isn't at 100% yet. Yeah, I thought that was obvious, right? I thought for me it didn't look like it was about him not being at 100% as much as like mentally and just shaking off the rust a little. So Cam didn't have a great game, obviously, but take a look at this, fellas. The Utes ran for 306 yards against Arizona. Now, if you guys watched the breakdown video I did this week, you will know that I talked about how this is a game where we are going to be able to run the ball. I can't see us having a bad time running the ball. Jalen Dixon, 1 carry for 7 yards and a touchdown. He kind of went off tonight. And then he had a lot of little passes, and some of these are so when they do a wide receiver reverse, if it's a pop pass, basically that means the wide receiver comes in front of the quarterback and the quarterback just kind of tosses it to him. If that's what it is, that counts as a pass. If it's behind him or it's actually handed off, then that's a run, right? So, I mean, a lot of Jalen Dixon's carries were really runs, receptions, or rushes. So, really good job by Jalen Dixon. Let's turn this music up a little, dude. Let's if it's annoying, you guys let me know. But I'm in a good mood, dude. I really enjoyed being at the game, and I think this team really had a great game. And then Tavion here, Tavion 8 rushes for 38 yards, 4.8 yards a carry, no touchdowns, but definitely had some tough runs where he dragged a couple guys. So that was nice to see. I think one thing we've also learned over these past 4 weeks that it's not like we can't survive without Tavion. Like, he's very good, but it's like this team is still a very good team with or without Tavion. This guy, though, Nate Johnson, dude. Nate Johnson went off today, huh? Wasn't that awesome to watch? If you guys don't know who Nate Johnson is, he's one of the backup quarterbacks. He's a freshman quarterback. Yeah, he's number 13 if you guys see him out there. But he was our highest rated prospect in the class last year outside of Lander Barton. I think that's accurate. But big time prospect for the Utes and a guy that we should all expect to be our starter one day. Really did a good job, right? These carries, he basically had 3 carries. 2 went for touchdowns, and then the third one was like a 5-yard carry that just didn't go for a touchdown. I think what we should all be excited about, what we saw tonight from Nate Johnson for the future, is that his athleticism translated. Like, he could outrun guys. He could get the edge on guys at the college level. I know that wasn't a great defense, but it looked good. It looked like he's going to be a special playmaker. Jimmy says Glover and Jackson were both hurt. I hope they will be okay. Yeah, I hope so as well. That's not good to see, but honestly, man, I think we just got a stack of running backs here. Like, we have so many guys that can run the damn ball. Jaquindon Jackson, though, another guy that deserves a shout out. Check it out. 13 rushes, 97 yards, 1 touchdown. And don't forget, he had that huge run that got stopped at the goal line right before it was a touchdown. He just got tripped up. So that night could have been even more impressive. You know, I was optimistic about Jaquindon Jackson, the whole running back experiment. But today definitely showed me that it's legit, right? Like, he can be a really good running back. And just so you guys know, I'm going to post a link in the chat. If anyone does have any interest in hopping on the live stream with me and talking about what they saw today, I'd be more than happy to have you on. Just hop on that little link I just posted in the chat. Just make sure you have good, decent internet, and yeah, should be fun. Feel free. All right, but yeah, so a really good rushing game for the Utes. We looked awesome. Jimmy said that play with Jackson at the goal line was when he got hurt and fumbled. Yeah, you don't like to hear that. Okay, let's take a look here. That has to be one of the highest fumbling games I've ever watched. I mean, how many fumbles were on both sides? Look at this. Jacob Cowing, 2. Jaden DeLora, 2. Michael Wiley, 1. Tyquan Gilmore, 1. Jaquinda Jackson, 1. Thomas Yasmin, 1. So in total, there were 8 fumbles in that game. Wild, dude. That was weird. It was just fumbles all the damn time. It was a fumble-a-palooza. And like I said, make sure you guys use that link in the chat if you guys do have any interest in hopping on. Clayton Isbell had a pretty good day. I heard his name called a lot on defense, making nice tackles. Did a very solid job from my perspective. He did miss one big tackle, but it was more like it was downfield. It was not his fault. The guy had broken away. It was one of those plays where the safety is the last guy to make the tackle, and he's just gunning and dives for the guy's legs and misses it, which kind of sucks. But I wouldn't really hold that against him. I thought he did a really good job. Vamahi had a nice sack. I remember that play. Karine Reed with half a sack. Travis Broughton with the sack. Good there. Honestly, his defense really stepped up against a really good offense. I don't know what else to say about that little group there. It was a good job. It's kind of weird. You guys ever notice with these games where it's like it was a decent opponent and we just kind of start racking up the points on them and the game becomes uncompetitive? You're happy it happened, but you're almost like after the game, you're like, oh, okay, like cool. Cool. That's good. So that's kind of where I am right now. If you guys understand that feeling, it's like, yeah, it's awesome that we were able to perform so well against a team like that. But that game was not competitive at all after like the first quarter. It was like, especially after halftime, we just kind of pulled away. Tyquan Gilmore, I'm not trying to shout out, I put a spotlight on him too much, but he had that punt return that he like jumped back into the end zone and got a safety. That was a bad look, man. I hope hopefully we can clean that up. He's a guy I had on here for an interview. Really nice guy. So hopefully that gets worked out, man. I know he was beating himself up, and I'm not trying to harp on him. I just, that wasn't a good look because, you're getting the backup playing time. And so you're hoping to make a play, but the punt was like at the 5-yard line. When it's within the 10, you let it go and you hope it bounces into the end zone. You don't just grab it. I get it though, trying to make a play, but that's not the type of play you want to make. All right, guys. Well, I just wanted to kind of talk about the game a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Before I get out of here, make sure you guys like the video, comment below any questions you guys have. I'll answer them after or before the video or during, but I am ready to go to bed. Long night, far drive. I live in Spanish Fork. If anyone's in the Utah area, Spanish Fork compared to Salt Lake is quite a drive. So I'm out of here though, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and have a good night. Go Utes.